Okay, so in Lewis structures, the key to this is thinking about the electrons being shared so that you get a full valence shell. And having the electrons distributed in such a way that all of the atoms have the number of electrons that make them happy, which is usually 8 electrons, which is an octet, that noble gas configuration. So every dot in a Lewis structure represents a valence electron, and we can then look at some atoms and put dots around them to indicate the number of valence electrons. So we also have to know how many valence electrons atoms have, and so why don't you just practice with that with a clicker question. And here's the part of the periodic table up here if you need it. All right, I'm told 10 seconds. Everyone was crazy fast. Yes. So 7 is the correct answer. You could look at the periodic table, and sometimes with these, it's a counting thing. So this is one where you want to always double check if things don't make sense. All right, so we can put 7 electrons around fluorine, and we'll have 2 fluorines here. They'll both have 7 electrons around them. And now I'm going to jump to another slide, but I'm going to show you the 7 again in case you haven't written them down. If you don't want to, they're not in your handout, but that's probably OK. So when you bring them together, you can bring them together in such a way that they can all share. And so if we put in green, then one of the fluorines, a 7, and then we put in blue the other fluorine 7, you can see that they can share 2 in the middle, and both are very, very happy. So just thinking about this really simple idea, how many electrons will give you an octet, will give you 8, and how can you put things together in such a way that allows for that to happen. Now, there are a few atoms or elements that do not want 8 in their valence shell, and hydrogen is one of them. It just has that one S. So it only wants 2. That's all it can handle. So this is an exception. Hydrogen is going to want 2 electrons. Hydrogen loves to interact with things, though. It interacts with lots and lots of things. And here, hydrogen with its 1 valence electron is interacting with chlorine with its 7 valence electrons. And they are sharing 2 electrons, forming a bond together. So when we're talking about Lewis structures, we're talking about different kinds of electrons. So we are talking about bonding electrons, the electrons that are involved in the bond, and also lone pair electrons. So chloride in HCl is going to have 2 bonding electrons. One was its, and one came from hydrogen. And it's also going to have 6 lone pair electrons, or we could say 3 lone pairs. So when we say a lone pair, that indicates 2 electrons there. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1 pair, 2 pairs, 3 pairs.